किया था मैंने। ओ, 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 सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं कर्वावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यश्श्रेयस्यानिश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम्। ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाची प्रतिष्ठितम् आविर्मयेति वेदस्य माणिस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासिः अनेन अधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मावतु तद्वक्तारम् अवतु अवतु मामवतु वक्तारम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टवाग्वं स्वस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ अहं वृक्षस्य रेरिव कीर्तिपृष्ठं गिरेरिव ऊर्ध्वपवित्रो वाजिनीव स्वमृतमस्मि द्रविडग्वं सवर्चसं सुमेधा अमृतोक्षितः इति त्रिशङ्कुर्वेदानुवचनम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Narayan, Narayan, everyone. Good morning. Prem, now that we have you back on video and audio, would you like to take the honors to read first?
Sure.
Okay. The connection between 57 and 58.
Now the Lord explains the gain which occurs by performance of actions through the yoga of wisdom, and also the loss which results if actions are performed egoistically.
Machitta sarva durgani
Machitta sarva durgani
mat prasadat rishyasi
mat prasadat tarishyai
rishyasi rishyasi
rishyasi
atha chetava sorry atha chetava mahankaran
ata chetvam ahankaram
shroshasi vinam akshasi.
shroshasi vinan akshashi. With your mind fixed on me, you shall overcome all obstacles by grace. But if you do not listen due to your egoism, you shall be doomed. Overcoming all obstacles through the Lord's grace. In this shloka, the Lord holds up important assurance that by learning on His grace, a person can overcome all obstacles of life. This cannot be done by making the intellectual a faithful servant of the Lord. Sorry, this can be done by making the intellect a faithful servant of the Lord, doing all His bidding without the least demur. The great poet Saint Goswami Tulsidas has written that for such a person, poison becomes nectar, foe becomes friend, the ocean becomes as small as the mark on a cow's hoof, fire becomes cold. By relying on the ways of the world, perhaps the ill effects of poison may be warded off, a foe vanquished, the ocean crossed, and the burning effects of fire escaped. But by learning on the Lord's grace, not only are the ill effects poison ward off, but it turns into nectar. Not only is the foe vanquished, but turns into a faithful friend. Not only is the ocean crossed, but the ocean is reduced to the size of a cow's hoof mark, which is crossed without any effort at all. Not only are the burning effects of fire escaped, the fire itself becomes a cooling agent. By using the word all before obstacles, the Lord emphasizes that the physical, mental, and spiritual obstacles are overcome in their eternity through His grace. All obstacles imaginable in the world are totally overcome, just as darkness of the room is removed in its totality by the ray of light. In the second line of this shloka, Lord says that if Arjuna does not listen to his words, it would lead him to his doom. The reason is that due an egoistic reliance on a person's own power, the Lord's words are not heeded.
So here he's giving you two choices, right? He says, if your mind is fixed on me, you shall overcome all obstacles. Now let's understand that a little bit, right? Our subtle body, which is mind, intellect, and ego, our gross body, which is the body, they're all part of nature. They're all part of Prakriti. So they are bound by the laws of nature, right? They're bound by what they experience in the world. So if we put our intellect to go and achieve things in nature, then our intellect might help us and we might be successful and we might get what we want and we do think that's working for us. But all of that comes at a significant cost of effort, stress, and toil. Bhagwanji is saying, with your mind fixed on me, there is a path that you can do everything you want, do your duty, be with your family with a saralta, with the ease that comes when you add Yog Maya to it. Right? So we've all been given certain boons, certain vibhutis, etc. Instead of doing it and using it for the ego's binding, for the ego's bidding, sorry, instead of doing it for the ego's bidding of likes, dislikes, right, wrong, validation, use it for his bidding, Bhagwanji's bidding. And he's saying if you do it for Bhagwanji's bidding, the whole task will become easier because you no longer have to be worried about the result. You no longer have to be worried about what people think, because everything would become a blessing. And then we'll talk more about the second line of the shloka in the coming shlokas. Do you want to add? So the one thing I will add, right? When we, everything we do in this world, we interact with VVGP, right? VVGP all comes from sansar, all comes from the world. And our body is part of that sansar. Our subtle body is also part of that sansar. So there are constant engagement and this constant stimulation and this constant interaction. So in that constant stream of information and interaction, we use our intellect for microseconds to control what we like and not like. Right? That's the limited use of our intellect. And what happens when the buddhi, the intellect, is turned away from sansar and turned towards Bhagwanji, the principles, the scriptures, right? Everything that we interact with, all the VVGPs that come, can be transformed as a divine experience. So now we never have to worry about a VVGP. We never have to worry about any result or any experience because we see nectar in everything. And that is really the only choice and free will we have. Whether we have the free will, whether we have the choice to choose experiencing your VVGP from ego, right, wrong, favorable, not favorable, or you have the choice to experience the VVGP from bhakti, from divinity, where it becomes sweet as nectar. Because we all know everything that is happening is only going to take us closer to home. Yeah, Bhageshri.
Yeah, so here the shloka talks about assurance in God, like means like surrendering to Him. But because everything is so uncertain in this world which we live in, there's always this anxiety, right? Oh, what will this happen? What if this might happen? If this happens, then it obviously that won't be some unfavorable circumstances might happen. Then obviously I won't like that because it will be difficult for me. I'll have to struggle. Then the next thought comes that okay, then maybe I'll get the strength to overcome that obstacle. Then maybe I should ask Lord for strength, because I'm not I will get such situations, unfavorable situations anyway. So what should I ask for? Is it like then I for His grace and for me to surrender to Him, the situations is gone, they are going to come, then should I ask for strength to overcome those, or like what should I ask for?
So if I can rephrase your question, are you asking what should your prayer be to Bhagwanji?
Yeah.
So yeah, you should ask for his strength. You ask for him to guide you so that you don't stray away from the principles in the scriptures, and for his grace and
So
everything.
basically, you just have to ask for the fact that may your intellect always do his bidding, and may your mind, जो आपका मन है, उनमें सिर्फ एक रति हो, and that is the love for Bhagwan Ji's feet. Everything else then comes from that. So what it will lead to is that if your intellect is being guided by him, if your man is not running away into the sense objects and is not chasing the sense objects, then you will see that in every situation, your intellect will guide you towards manifesting one of the 26 or whatever, X number of divine qualities. And it will avoid or it will help you remove the asuri qualities from you. It will guide you towards that position. So that is what the prayer should be, because आपको नहीं पता what VVGPs are there for us. So the only thing you need to ask for is, may my intellect always be guided by you. May my mind always only hold in an unwavering fashion a love for you and your feet alone. Then you are being guided by him. And then it doesn't matter what happens, what comes. You will stop seeing situations that you would have at one point of time termed as unfavorable. You will find that even they are favorable for you. You will start to see why they are favorable for you. And end of the day, life is not led out there in reality. We live lives in our own minds. We live lives based on our interpretation of the VVGPs. And that is what causes anxiety or happiness or pleasure, or everything is in our own minds. You can find coffee, black coffee, very bitter, or you can start to find the same black coffee energizing. The black coffee hasn't changed, the reality hasn't changed, but our mind's experience of that coffee has changed. And that causes you to feel, wow, I'm looking forward to it, versus, yuck, I don't want this.
All right. Bhageshri, would you like to read the next one?
Yeah. The Lord tells how this happens.
Yad ahankaram mahatrishtya
Yad ahankaram ashristya
na yotsya
No,
iti
yotsya.
na yotsya iti manyase
na yotsya iti manyase
mathiyesh
Yes.
mithiyesh
Vyavasayaste.
vyavasayaste
मिथ्येष व्यवसायस्ते
Prakritistvam niyokshati.
प्रकृतिस्त्वां नियोक्ष्यति. If relying on your egotism, you think I shall not fight, then this resolve is vain, for your innate nature would force you. The force of innate nature. The Lord now describes the loss which accrues to a person by reliance on egoistic resolves and from indifference to the Lord's advice. Many people, afraid of facing their obligations in life, either run away from their duties or else start indulging in unrighteous activities. They thus waver from the aim of their lives. Their unfulfilled desires, born of their innate nature, force them to undertake undesirable activities by which they invite more and more trouble for themselves. Physical ailments and mental tensions besiege them. On the one hand, they deprive themselves of the attainment of the aim of human life, and on the other, they become a prey to countless sufferings, diseases, and troubles. The surest way to get supreme peace in life is to face its obligations boldly and to fulfill them with righteous actions, relying totally on the Lord's grace.
So the way to understand this shloka is to think of an analogy. The analogy being a river with a very fast current moving towards the ocean, right? What is the best way to navigate that river? Is swim with the current, stay with the current, don't resist it, and it will flow you directly into the ocean, right? And what is the other way to be in that river? Try to hold on to rocks and sticks along the way so that you don't flow into the ocean. You don't know where you're going. It's uncertain. I don't know where I'm going. So I will hold on to this rock that I see, right? And what would happen in that situation?
The urge is to go in the opposite direction.
And yeah, so to get to that rock, you will swim in the wrong way, fight the current. You will try and swim back to get that tree. And what all that does? Toil, effort, anxiety, stress. And when you get that rock, there is no peace because the river is still gushing. It's still beating your body up. Right? And that is the analogy of this shloka and who we are. Our innate nature, we are bound to experience our prarabdha. We cannot escape from it. What is our destiny has already been doled out to us. We have to experience our prarabdha. But Bhagwan Ji is saying you can either do it the way where you're trying to hold on to rocks and branches and swim and create your own reality, or you can get the boat, which is Bhagwan Ji himself, and just sit in that boat and ride the wave. Sorry, ride the current. Right? But we try very hard in the very limited reality we see in the present. We look for that branch in the rock. And we distract ourselves, busy ourselves with all these goals, achievements, this, that, likes, dislikes, expectations. And then we keep looking for the branch and rock, branch and rock, branch and rock. And then we wonder why we're stressed. We wonder why we're anxious. We wonder why we have to take medication, so on and so forth. Right? Bhagwanji is saying the river of life is flowing through and it will take us all to the ocean. Just fix your mind upon me, get onto the boat, and it will flow through. Easier said than done, because all of us have our past prarabdha where the ego is already very strong, the intellect is already deluded. So it's much harder to reach this stage. But that is where asking for prayer, focusing your intellect on the scriptures is the only way for you to know, hey, am I operating out of my innate nature of looking good or justifying doing what I'm doing in the name of like, it's the right thing? Or am I actually doing it from the scriptures? Am I trying to control outcomes by using my manipulation skills? Or am I just letting Bhagwanji take its course? Right? So, and let's be really clear, we all have been given an innate nature. Following it will definitely one create prarabdha, so we have, which we have to experience, but following it will also create bondage.
You don't have to follow the innate nature. The innate
Being
nature will
innate.
force you
To
to do things. So if you think that I will not fight, if you say that I will not do this, I will not do that, or I will do this, or I will do that, or I will act differently, with full reliance on your own ego, that I have the strength to do something, you would realize that actually your control is going to be very limited, because the force of innate nature is extraordinarily strong, and your ego has very low reserves of energy. So if you are, for example, a person who's an angry person, right? And you say, "Ab aaj se gussa nahi karungi." And this is something that we all have experienced, I think, 250 times by now, or million times by now in our lives in different contexts, right? गुस्सा नहीं करूंगी मैं अगली बार से, ठीक है? आपको लगता है आप कर दिखाओगे. Once, twice, the third time, your innate nature will follow through. I will go to exercise every single day. ठीक है? एक दिन, दो दिन, चार दिन, the next week you're back on track. Your innate nature will take over. The only way to change your innate nature in a sustainable fashion is to, instead of relying on your own energy, rely on the energy of the Lord. Ask Him for His energy. Request Him. Put that thing down at His feet, and He will take you from where you are to where you need to be. And He will do it in a fashion that is easy, and in a fashion that you will not experience anxiety or anger or upset or like blame yourself along the way. I can't do this. I'm so bad. I can't even do this kind of a thing. You won't experience those negative emotions along the way, because He will take you from point A to point B. Another thing is that if you think, oh, I will not get myself involved in life, that is also a fallacy, because the innate nature will make you do things. You can't stay out of action. The gunas will take over, and they will make your mouth speak, they will make your hands do stuff, they will make your legs walk to where you need to be. It's that action reaction. You give food to dog, the dog will walk towards it to smell it, to experience it, and to eat it if he likes it. If his senses say yum, 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 he will eat it. If his senses say nope, avoid, he will not eat it. That's how our behaviors are too, based on the stimulus we receive from outside. If we leave things to our gunas, if we leave things to our ego, yes, you might be able to, if you have a different resolve, you may be able to resist it once or twice, but eventually your gunas will take over, your likes and dislikes will take over. What does gunas take over mean? It means your mind will act as per its likes and dislikes, and they will only keep getting stronger. Right? So reliance on our own self is not going to get us too far. But we have a very strong sense of self, a strong sense of ego. बिकॉज हमको लगता है आज तक हमने जो भी कुछ अचीव किया है लाइफ में वो हमने अपने ही बल पे किया है, राइट? I've come this far, I've reached this school, I've reached this position, I've done so much in my life, all based on my self-reliance. And our world teaches us that. The world is constantly, the whole concept, which is extraordinarily celebrated in our world, self-made man, is a fallacy. Look at him, he's a self-made man, right? Rags to riches stories that we celebrate as if like that person is so amazing. Those are all fallacies, and they create a lot of anxiety and a lot of issues in a lot of us. So instead, we have to learn to have reliance on him and then not get attached to results. Right? कि हमें यही मिलेगा तो ही हम खुश होंगे, कुछ और मिल गया इसके रिजल्ट में तो हम खुश नहीं होंगे. That is what causes that anxiety, because we get attached to certain outcomes which we in our own limited buddhi think of as being good for us. Our limited buddhi is unable to see those 25 other outcomes that can happen and how even they can be good to us, because we are very fixated on a certain outcome. And हम लोग ना ज्यादा नहीं देख पाते. We are not दूरदर्शी. How much ever smart we think we ourselves are, हम दूरदर्शी नहीं है. हम लोग वो सिर्फ आगे 2 या 3 स्टेप्स देख पाते हैं. कोई एक ही स्टेप देख पाएगा, कोई अपना को बहुत दूरदर्शी सोचेगा तो वो 4 स्टेप आगे देख पाएगा, उससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं है, right? I mean, you think about all the forecasts the smartest of the people do in whether they are sitting in World Health Organization or United Nations or Fed or RBI. Look at the forecast they do, the smartest of the minds who think they understand the way the world works, and it's nothing. Their forecasts get you nowhere. They are at best guidance for the next few quarters, maybe, right? So we can't control, we are not Doordarshi. With our own limited things, thoughts, and our limited ability to see forward, we think this is the best outcome for me. Kabhi the long term outcomes that are best for us are what go through us going through some difficult times. And we are loath to go through difficult times. We loathe it. नहीं करना मुझे, effort नहीं मारना मुझे. जितना मुझे convenience मिल सकती है मैं उतना convenience follow करूँ. I always want to take the easiest path forward, right? But the easiest path forward is not the one that our ego tells us. The easiest path forward is to just simply flow with the river, as Abhinav said, is to not resist the flow of life, not resist the experiences that come to us, not resist the people that come into our lives, but learn how to be your best with those VVGPs. The way to flow with life, the easiest path is to welcome every VVGP that comes in our lives, and then ask Bhagwan Ji ki help me express my divine qualities in this VVGP in the best way possible. That's it. और फिर उसके बाद सब कुछ भगवान पे छोड़ दो. End of the day, the ease that we are seeking, which is very important for us to realize, the ease we are seeking is not physical ease. हम physical ease seek करते हैं because we haven't had time to look inside of ourselves, and we think that we are all actually following mental ease. Mental ease is the real ease. हमको लगता है physical ease होगी तो mental ease मिलेगी. Sometimes that's true, sometimes that's not true. You may have the softest bed and yet you will not experience good sleep. And you can experience good, deep, comfortable sleep while sleeping on a mat or on the floor. So it isn't physical ease that causes mental ease. It's the other way around. So we all need mental ease. And when we leave the physical aspects, the VVGPs to the world, to Bhagwan Ji, and say, Kiya, jo aayega, aapki kripa. Prasad buddhi is this. जो आएगा आपकी कृपा, it is for my best interest. Now teach me, how do I express my divine qualities in this VVGP? That causes real mental ease. And that, by the way, is moksha. That is liberation. That is what Gita is taking us to. Then you will remain happy, at ease, in complete comfort, in complete peace, no matter what's happening around you. Whether it is Mahabharat, it's like the gory war outside, or whether you're sitting in a comfortable, cool environment in a palace. You will remain happy. Yeah, Vijay.
I just wanted to add a couple of quick points. So essentially, if we see the spiritual leaders or gurus' lives also, like Ramana Maharishi or Yukteswarji, all of them, uh, how they have handled the life, right? So even Ram in Ramayana. So the if you take Ram's life also, at the crowning stage, he had been sent to the forest. At forest, he has lost his wife. Most of the time in forest, he was without wife, and he was trying to search and fight, and then bring her back. Even after bringing her back, people started talking ill about it, and he has to let her go again. He was not with his kids. So the life of Ram, in spite of all this troublesome thing that he has gone through, he has never deviated from Dharma. That is why we are still talking about Ram. So that is the takeaway, right? Like even if you take Ramana Maharishi, he had polio. One of the leg he cannot fix to the ground. So you take any of the full size picture of Ramana Maharishi, you will see that he cannot walk properly. He's with the support all the time. So Yukteswarji has passed on with cancer, right? Like, but how they have dealt with it, all the great people, how they have dealt with their life. That's the key. That's the takeaway, right? Like, it is not us telling God how my life should be, right? Where we will have to gain strength, understanding the life it is going to be like that, and how we are going to take a self to sail through. So that is the this thing, and how we are not deviating from our dharmic activities. That is what is going to define. Is my
No, it's beautiful sharing. I think your examples are fantastic. Yeah, that was amazing. Vijay, would you like to read? Since
thank you.
All right.
Clarifying further, the Lord says,
Swabhava jane kaunteya
Swabhava Janeya Kaunteya
nibiddha swena karmana
Nibiddha Svena Karmana
Baddha.
nibbadda.
Nibaddha Nibaddha Svena Karmana
Kartu nechasi yanmohat.
Kartum Nechasi Yanmohat
Karishyasava shopi tata
Karishyasa Yavashopitata
Karishyasya vashoapi tat.
Karishyasya Vashopitat.
What did I say?
O Kaunteya, bound by your own duty, determined by your innate nature, you shall compel to do unwillingly what you want to avoid on account of your delusion. Compulsion to perform natural duties. In this shloka, the Lord says every person bound to perform duties which are determined by his innate nature, the destiny woven by the person by motivated actions in countless past lives, sets a pattern for the present life in the shape of duties. If now a man thinks of running away from them, his innate nature would not permit him to do so, and it would compel him to perform actions. For example, a seed, when sown, would sprout into a plant of which it is a seed. Not to sprout would be against its own nature. Similarly, it is almost impossible to swim across a river against its current, but the river is crossed easily by swimming along with the current. In the same way, giving up the natural actions profits none. Peace can be attained in this very life by performing righteous action according to the circumstances and extent of one's natural capacity.
So here we're talking more about innate nature and the vibhutis that we get, right? So the question is, we've been given this The question is, how do we use it, right? So, for example, you may have the skill for people skills, right? Where you're very good with people. But are you using those people skills to get validation from people? Are you using those people skills to be liked or to look good and to manipulate situations so that you come out on front and other people don't? Or are you using those people skills to bring people together to sing praises about Bhagwan Ji? Or are you bringing people together in satsang with your people skills? Or are you doing kusang, using your people skills to then get people together and then gossip about others? Right? That's what he's highlighting. That it's about the purpose with which we use our innate nature and our skills that will allow us to step out of this delusion. Otherwise, your innate nature will take over. And I think Tuvina mentioned the second half already, which is there is no way you can avoid doing your duty or your work. Your innate nature will not allow your mind to be quiet where you can just disconnect. It will compel you to action one way or the other. A person who is a grahast, an organizer, if they go in the forest, they will end up organizing, building a house for themselves, creating comfort. They'll just not be at peace that a sannyasi might would. They will create the Rajoguni activity from themselves there itself.
Correct. This
But
is what is being told ki destiny woven by a person by the motivated actions of his countless lives that have come before, right? They set a pattern for the present life in the form of duties that get given to you and the VVGPs that get presented to you with the set of vibhutis, the set of capabilities that have been given to you. To fight against any of those is futile. You cannot. Like Abhinav said, you may run away from, wherever you're staying and say, I want to run away and stay in a forest. But we are all karma yogis. You will end up organizing, creating in the forest then. You will end up creating the same set of circumstances you would have experienced where you're staying today. The same set of things in a different fashion will come to you even if you run away to a forest. और जो सन्यासी है वो he can stay in the middle of the busiest metropolitan and he will still remain detached and he will still live with no possessions. Okay, so that whatever you have to experience, whatever you have to go through in terms of your relationships, in terms of your own experiences, whatever lessons you have to learn, those will follow you no matter where you go, and your innate nature will propel you to do things in a certain way. The only way to go past that is instead of doing things unconsciously based on your innate nature, you want to use your intellect to create a pause between a stimulus and the reaction that happens. Create that pause, use the intellect to determine what is the right thing to do, which is basically how to express the divine qualities that I need to express in the situation. And then instead of reacting, you act consciously. And that can only happen when we surrender ourselves completely to Bhagwan Ji. It cannot happen without that. He has given us and he has told us throughout Gita again and again कि अपने पे मत रिलायंस करो, इतनी सी एनर्जी है, वो एनर्जी खत्म हो जाएगी कभी ना कभी. I have little bit of energy, so I can carry on twice. Kavita has more energy. She will do her yoga sessions 10 times. I will only do it twice. Okay. And Vijay has even more. He'll probably continue for a month. कहीं ना कहीं कभी ना कभी because we are all limited beings, our limited energy will finish. कहाँ खत्म होगी वो आपके पास्ट उसके ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है, right? Whatever the capacity भगवान जी has given to us. But कहीं ना कहीं जाके खत्म होगी. The only way because ultimately बैटरी छोटी है कि बड़ी है, बैटरी है, लिमिटेड एनर्जी ही है, वो बैटरी कभी ना कभी खत्म होएगी ही होएगी. right? The only way to make sure that battery is, and this battery is a rechargeable battery, ठीक है? तो भगवान जी कहते हैं उसको रिचार्जेबल बैटरी को पूरे समय सॉकेट में लगा के रखो, which is to be connected to Bhagwan Ji all the time. So when we are surrendered, our batteries are connected to Bhagwan Ji. So then we are not limited to that. We are limited. Then we are unlimited. Our energy is unlimited. क्योंकि आप सोचो ना, हैबिट को चेंज करने के लिए या कोई भी चीज को चेंज करने के लिए आपको कितना एफर्ट, कितनी एनर्जी लगती है. कभी ना कभी तो आपका खत्म हो जाएगा ना वो पेशेंस अपने आप से ही. नहीं हो पाएगा. आई एम डन, आई एम एग्जॉस्टेड. We've said that so many times. I don't want to do this anymore. Or I can't do this. How many times do you want me to have my patience? The same situation comes up again and again. Abhinav keeps putting the towel on the bed all the time. He will not go and put it out there to like dry. How many times will I have the patience? So if I am reliant on myself and my ability to have patience, within a week I will snap at him. But if I have surrendered him and his towel habits to Bhagwan Ji, so every time I will be able to be nice to him and remind him nicely. And at some point of time, Bhagwan Ji will have grace on him and he will start to put the towel in its place without creating an issue in our relationship.
That's yet to happen. I'm waiting for that grace.
Cannot happen with any husband.
This is if we are reliant
That means
on our
all
queen
you
of
women have the same prarabdha.
Or
Somebody towel.
maybe husbands have it.
No, that's the innate nature. Let's leave it to that.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
When like it's saying in the shlokas that we have to surrender and all, right? But when you're lost, what are ways that can help you to like say, okay, I know I'm lost. I want to get back to that path, but what are some ways to help you get back to that?
So सबसे पहले तो कार्पण्य दोष. That shloka is the start of Gita. So this one, Karpanya Dosh is 2.10, right? Or 2.08?
Karpanya dosh.
Yeah.
2.07.
So 2.07, right? Usse pehle, if you read all the shlokas before that, is Arjun speaking, his ego speaking. Okay, and he's continuously having a dialogue with his own self. Arjun, Bhagwan Ji is not talking to him, right? He is making his own determination of what is right, what is wrong, what he should do, what he should not do. Okay, he continues until he reaches a dead end, right? And this is a very typical journey for all of us. We, at some point of time, reach a dead end where we are unable to solve our problems. And we say, mujhse nahi ho payega. And we realize that I'm lost. I need help. So Arjun reached that stage and then he tells Bhagwan Ji Karpanya Dosh that I have the dosh, I have the flaw of Karpanya, of not having enough resources, and I'm miser about the use of my own intellect. I'm using my intellect in a very limited fashion. I cannot, because of that, I am unable to see what is right and what is wrong. I'm unable to determine that anymore. I'm confused. And now I am surrendering myself to you and I am asking you for your help. So seeking help is the very first step. And you only seek help when you first acknowledge that you do not have all the answers, that you do not have the ability or resources, and you don't know what to do anymore. You're confused. So acknowledgement is the first step. Surrender is the second step. And third step is that seeking the help. And then fourth step is to make yourself the best shishya, the best taker of the knowledge that will come to you. An open receptacle to hold the knowledge that comes to you. So then he says, I am your student and I put myself in a space of studentship. Then there is going to be, you're not a student if you're going to resist the teacher. Teacher tells you A and you said, no, that doesn't make sense. Prove to me. Then you're not putting yourself in a space of studentship. You go to a mentor and you say, help me. And then whatever that mentor says, you keep challenging, says, it doesn't make sense. तो फिर आपने अपने आप को surrender नहीं किया है. Your brain is still working and is saying, jab. I still know best. You tell me, I will decide what out of this I will take and what I will not take. Then you're not really doing Karpanya Dosh. Karpanya dosh means complete surrender and then asking for help. And whatever comes, you accept it as the gospel truth. But you're allowed to ask questions, of course. Arjun is continuing to ask questions. Doesn't mean you can't question. Arjun is constantly asking questions. So you will then ask, okay, you're telling me to do this. I don't know how to do this. I am limited in this fashion. How do I go about it? Right? So you continue to ask questions, but without a doubting buddhi. Then now you're asking how to walk this path. I accept the path to be true. Now tell me how to. So that is how you do surrender.
So, the answer to any question you have about life, right? In whatever state of mind, when you say you're lost, the answer to everything is in this book. The way to be, the way to think, all exists within this book. And if you go to chapter 1, I don't know about the new book, but right before chapter 1, there are these 2 pages. And the heading is called Shlokas, which help in tiding over trying situations. Right? And if you look at the book, there are, I think, 25 circumstances highlighted here, which include for clear perception, which include for constant attention, for tiding over indecision, for dealing with depression due to failure or depression due to death, for quenching personal anger. And then for each one of these situations that you might have, it highlights the relevant shloka for you to go and read. Right? So, as a seeker, whenever you are lost, depending on your state of mind, pick up this book, go to these shlokas. And if when you read these shlokas, it still doesn't make sense, then yes, then you need to do puja, you need to do surrendership, you need to, then you know your surrendership is not good enough, which is why
Before
you're
you
not.
read this
Correct.
book, I would advise you do a Karpanya dosh in your mind and you actually do a puja in your mind, surrender yourself to Bhagwan Ji and then start. Otherwise, बुद्धि खुलेगी नहीं. पढ़ लेंगे आप words, आपको समझ में नहीं आएंगे वो आपको क्या बोलने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं words, because you're not open. So do a puja in your mind, do surrender to Bhagwan Ji and then pick up the book and the book will give you answers.
And sometimes, no, if you feel like, oh, none of these situations are relevant, I've done this many times. I just close the book. I do Karpanya dosh that Tuvina is saying. I think of the problem and I say, Bhagwanji, please give me an answer. You just flip it. And wherever it stops, read those 2 pages. If it
That
made
really
sense,
works, huh?
if it made sense, great. If it didn't, close it, flip it again and open it. And you will somehow, after 2 or 3 tries, you will get an insight that would
Like the book will speak to you.
The book will speak to you. It is so personal. Yeah, I think we both have done this many a times. All right, sorry, I lost my page. Okay, 508. Smita would like to read with us.
Sure.
So between 60 and 61.
Yeah. The Lord now tells how nature, born of past actions, binds a person.
Ishvara sarvabhutanam
Ishvara sarvabhutanam
hacheshre
Hrideshe.
hrideshre jurna tishtati
Hrideshe Arjuna tishtati.
hrideshe Arjuna tishtati
brahmayana sarvabhutani
brahmayan sarvabhutani
yantraruthani mayaya.
yantrarudhani mayaya. O Arjuna, the Lord, dwelling in the hearts of all beings, drives them about the power of his Maya, like one mounted on a machine. The driving power of the Lord. The Lord says that he, being immanent in all beings, drives them and impels them to perform actions like a machine driven by someone. Two corollaries follow from this shloka. One is that if while performing actions, one regards oneself only as an instrument of the Lord, one performs only righteous actions and does not fall a prey to one's passions and prejudices. The second corollary is that it is the Lord again who drives others too. Thus, all beings act according to Lord's dispensation. The Lord is the friend and well-wisher of all beings, and therefore his dispensation cannot be mischievous. Mischief is mistakenly seen in his dispensation due to faulty way of thinking. For example, a playful boy regards his father as being extremely cruel, while he asks the child to study at a time when he wishes to play. There is some compulsion to act according to one's innate nature, but there is complete freedom to keep the actions unencumbered with passion, envy, hatred, anger, selfishness, and corruption. While the guidance of the scriptures and saints, with the guidance of these scriptures and saints, thoughts become pure, and then these negative qualities also disappear.
So two things, right? I think we've studied this several times that जो भी कुछ हो रहा है, whatever is happening in this world and sansar, it is happening because of him, and it is happening to him because he resides everywhere, right? So then the question comes in, oh, his nature is such that he can never do anything negative. Why are there so many negative things happening in this world, right? And this is where we have to become very clear in our understanding of Gita and its principles, where we realize that whatever negativity that happens is born out of people and their innate nature, their own ego, their own likes and dislikes. And anything that we experience where we feel it's unfavorable, that is our prarabdha that is coming in front of us. Right? And
Our view and the way we view it, it's our perception कि it's unfavorable. Unfavorable कुछ नहीं होता.
correct. It's the perception that it's unfavorable. You want to?
There are two parts to this, right? One is Bhagwan Ji and the other is his Maya. He drives people through his Maya. Maya is this nature, and nature is a set of rules. There are things that will happen, and there are every action will have its own reaction. It will have its own fruit. Okay, so the law of nature dictates that that sun will rise and it will set. The rule of nature is whatever is born will die, right? Whatever has a beginning will have its end. The rule is there is gravity that applies to everybody as per the equation, right? The gravitational equation applies to everybody. So these are laws of nature. These are the compulsions of his Maya, which drives the world, right? And these laws apply equally to everybody. So if you do a certain action, it will have a certain outcome that we are now bound by the law of nature to experience no matter what, right? We're not going to be exempted. The only way we get exempted of experiencing our own prarabdha is by grace of Bhagwan Ji. Nature is neither cruel nor kind. Nature is just a set of rules that will be followed. Kindness is the quality of Bhagwan Ji. भगवान जी इज नॉट अ लाइक हम बोलते हैं सुनते हैं कि भगवान जी तुम्हें तुम्हें श्राप मिल जाएगा, तुम्हें भगवान जी ये कर देंगे, तुम्हें भगवान जी वो कर देंगे, एज इफ लाइक ही इज वन disciplinarian sitting up there and he's going to like भगवान जी doesn't do that actually. That is all done by Maya. जो एक्शन है उसका लॉज है, उसके अंदर जाएगा, आपने ये इनपुट डाला, ये आपका आउटपुट मिल जाएगा. भगवान जी is only capable of one thing, which is compassion and love. He is love personified. So he is capable of love, he's capable of empathy, he's capable of forgiveness. He is the only one that can save you from your own actions. So if you surrender yourself to Bhagwan Ji and you learn to follow his path, he will ensure. That's why हमारे chapter 3, chapter 4 में दिखाया है कि अगर आप कोई अपना लेसन सीख लेते हैं and you surrender yourself to Bhagwan Ji and his grace is on you, तो आप जब अपना एक लेसन सीख लेते हैं एक एक्शन से, एक बिहेवियर से, राइट, all the past actions that are linked to it that you've done, 250 million different actions जिसके results आपको experience करने थे, all of them get burnt away, as if you have put a small you put a matchstick in a stack of hay. They all get burnt over. बट भगवान जी की ग्रेस कब आएगी? जब आप उनसे कनेक्ट होंगे। आप उनसे कनेक्ट कब होंगे? जब आप अपनी ईगो को जीरो करके उनसे सरेंडर करेंगे, और फिर वो जो आपको बोल रहे हैं वो आप करेंगे। तो अब अगर भगवान जी ने बोला पुट दिस डिसलाइक अवे फॉर दिस एक्शन, गो एंड डू इट, एंड डू इट इन दिस फैशन, एंड डू इट कंसिस्टेंटली, इफ यू लर्नड इट एंड यू स्टार्टेड टू डू इट, आपको अब, और वो जो भी आपके पास्ट एक्शन से, जो आपके उससे रिलेटेड जितने रिजल्ट्स थे, वो अब आपको नहीं भोगने हैं। भगवान जी विल हैव दैट ग्रेस ऑन यू. That's how, in one lifetime, we are capable of extinguishing all the past karmas and achieving nirvana. So, Bhagwan Ji is love. He is the one capable of forgiveness, of compassion, and of love. He is not here to dispense justice. Justice is given by nature, by his Maya. And because Maya gives justice, it is not capable of love or empathy. Love and empathy is characteristic of only Bhagwan Ji.
And you can test this theory out for yourself. We tend to be compassionate, loving, and kind only if the person in front of us is compassionate, loving, and kind. The moment they are no longer compassionate, if they're angry, if they're hurtful, if they're vengeful, if they're mean, if they're, how quickly do we lose that? Right? So all of us then immediately go to, how can they? How could she have said that? Why can't she call? Or whatever it is. Right? But Bhagwanji in his state of mind is exactly that. Always, irrespective of your VVGP.
Yeah.
And that is why I say this a lot in class. That's why Jesus is still celebrated today. Because he was able to still be forgiving, loving, and kind despite the physical hardship he went through. Sorry.
And so then he says that he is the one that is immanent in all beings, and he's the one driving them and impelling them to perform actions like a machine driven by someone. Then you're like, why is this person being mean? Right? Why is this person being mean? He's not being mean because of Bhagwan Ji, but because he's being driven by the Maya. Because he's being controlled by his gunas. And you're experiencing it by grace of Bhagwan Ji, so that you can learn something that you need to learn to move on in your life, to move to the next step. So when we understand that fact, then we know कि सामने वाला चाहे mean हो, चाहे गुस्से में हो, चाहे vengeful हो, whatever that person is doing, that is being done and you're being made to experience it as a grace of Bhagwan Ji. You have asked Bhagwan Ji, cleanse me of all my asuri qualities, fill me up with divine qualities, and help me achieve yoga to you, help me achieve nirvana, help me be happy all the time. So the way he will do this is by giving you situations to learn from. Because end of the day, आप कितना ही भगवान जी को आप बोल रहे हो, भगवान जी please help me learn swimming, help me learn swimming, help me learn swimming. What will he do? He'll put you into a swimming pool, no? That is what he's doing. And you're like, no, 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 no. Don't put me in the swimming pool. Teach me how to swim being on bed. And by the way, I never want to figure out whether I've really learned, because I don't want to get into water. Ultimately, you have to get into water to learn swim and then be able to show that, ha, I've swum. I know how to swim. Now I'm swimming. Once you learn how to swim and you can float on water, water ceases to be anything that's scary for you. Then it starts being a source of enjoyment and happiness to you. Then you want to jump into water again and again. Doesn't matter. It becomes a source of joy for you. Right? The same thing for nirvana. We want to achieve nirvana. We want to achieve that bliss and that happiness. So he'll give us those situations. Isko seek lo. Isko conquer kar lo. Then to the next step. Then to the next step. Eventually, I'll get you to that space of nirvana and happiness and bliss and shanti. So we have to now experience that everything I'm experiencing Bhagwan Ji in every form. And he's doing it for my own best interest.
No, this shloka is also just highlighting another aspect, which is, where does your identity lie? Does you as a person, are we identifying ourselves with this body, or are we identifying ourselves with the soul? And again, the answer to that is really clear. We just need to experience a VVGP we consider unfavorable, and we'll have that answer. whether we are identifying with the body or the soul. And the Gita journey is just that, moving the identity from body consciousness to soul consciousness.
And then another thing here that is mentioned, which we must really, really deeply put inside our consciousness is, Lord is the friend and well-wisher of all beings. And therefore his dispensation cannot be mischievous. He's not a mischievous, naughty boy who will have fun to see you go through some problem. He's not doing this to have fun. चलो उसको चुटकी काटते हैं, देखते हो कैसे रिएक्ट कर रहा है, ha 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 ha, मजा आ गया, मजा आ गया. He's not doing that.
Let's have
Okay?
fun. Put the towel on the bed.
Yeah.
देखते क्या होता है.
Exactly. He's not doing that, right? So Bhagwan ji masti nahi kar rahe hain Abhinav ke through by throwing the towel on the bed. He is doing that to help me overcome my ability to get annoyed with little things, right? So he's putting it in front of me again and again and again, till the time I learn not to get annoyed with that one little aspect, right? And it stops being an irritant, because even for me, it doesn't take me more than a second to pick up that towel and put it out there, right? To dry. It doesn't take me much. But जो annoyance मेरे अंदर create होती है वो बहुत heavy है. And that is just one example. Once I have overcome that habit, right? Once I've overcome annoyance in that one situation, there will be a million other small things that will come up in my life that cause me annoyance. I will learn how to deal with them in a better fashion. Right? So Bhagwan Ji is not doing this to have fun. He is doing this as a well-wisher. And he will only give us those issues that we know how to deal with. Right? So a father will never throw his kid who does not know how to swim at all in the deep end of the ocean. He's not going to do that because that kid is not going to survive, right? He will put him in a small place, in a small water pool where he can stand, he can learn how to deal with water. Then slowly he will give him some other things to like float on water and get comfortable. Slowly. Now he says, okay, now he's ready. Now I'll put him into the deep end of the pool where his feet don't touch the water so that he can start to learn how to swim. And he will have things around him to save him in case that kid loses confidence in himself and his ability. The teacher knows this kid has the ability to swim, but that kid may not necessarily have that confidence. If that kid loses his confidence, then he will get fished out. Bhagwanji won't let him die, right? The teacher will not let him die. But then he will put him again after some time when he's calmed down and he's learned again. He'll take him back to smaller places. Then again, he will bring him back to this. Because वो तो skill सीखनी ही है. Right? So this is how Bhagwanji does these things to us as well. He will bring to us a situation for which the resources are made available to us and our ability is there to overcome that issue. Sometimes we know it and we successfully, with his help, cross that and become better selves. Sometimes we drown. तो भगवान जी फिर हमें छोटे उस पे पूल में लेके जाएंगे, फिर बड़े पूल में लेकर आएंगे. So he's not doing this out of any fun. Why me वाला question इसके बाद नहीं आना चाहिए हमारी life. Right? We should now know कि when I see a situation, I should have the confidence that I know I have all the resources and the ability to manage this. इसलिए ये आया है. और क्या मुझे सीखना है, क्या डिवाइन, वो भी क्या मुझे सीखना है भी नहीं पता होता आपको. Just ask yourself, क्या डिवाइन क्वालिटीज मुझे इस सिचुएशन में एग्जिबिट करनी है. And then ask Bhagwan Ji to give you the strength to exhibit those divine qualities if you find it unable to express them. Right? Ask Bhagwan Ji for his strength and his grace, and then go ahead and boldly face that situation. And never ask why me ever again in any situation. Never blame anybody in every situation. Know that it is for my own best benefit. Make sense? Go to the next.
Kavita would like to read.
Okay. In Shloka 56, the Lord had spoken of performance of actions with complete self-surrender to Him. The self-surrender is the foundation of yoga of devotion. Reiterating that, the Lord says,
Tavema Sharana Gaccha.
Tameva, not
Tam-
Tameva.
Tameva Sharanam Gaccha.
Tvameva sharanam gaccha
Sarva Bhavena Bharata.
सर्वभावेन भारत
ततः प्रसादात् परां शान्तिं
तत्प्रसादात् परां शान्तिं
स्थानं प्राप्यसि शाश्वतम्.
स्थानं प्राप्यसि शाश्वतम्. O Bharat, seek refuge in him with your whole being. Through his grace, you will attain supreme peace and eternal state. Supreme peace through self-surrender. The Lord exhorts Arjuna to seek refuge in him instead of searching for happiness in the temporal world. For this, only a change of thoughts is needed. While performing the duties of daily life, thoughts of self interest in actions would have to give a place of those of self surrender. This change in the current of thoughts alone attract his grace. The Lord says that in the life here, supreme peace would be experienced, and in the hereafter, the eternal state would be attained, which is the state of his own being. This is why in this shloka the Lord calls upon Arjuna to seek refuge in him with his whole being. In effect, it means wholehearted surrender of the individual ego to him. The pleasant and unpleasant result of actions are thus recorded as beneficence of the Lord. All dispensation of the Lord are regarded as being for one's welfare. All worldly acquisitions like wealth, status, following, acclaim, etc., then cease to be looked upon as means of personal aggrandizement. They would instead be utilized for doing good to the less fortunate ones. The mind is then totally absorbed in the thought of Lord. The state of supreme peace attained thereby is then full of bliss only.
So here I think we've talked about this in other shlokas, but one thing I'll add is let's tie it all together. So if we have an innate nature, we have all these vibhutis that we've been given, we've talked about how to use them for not our ego's purpose, but for divinity's purpose, right? And divine purpose is what? It's seva. It's lok sangra. And when we do seva and we get lok sangra, we get prasad along the way. Prasad can be in the form of things we find favorable. Prasad may be in the form of things we may perceive as unfavorable, but with our intellect firmly situated in Gita, we understand that they all are favorable prasad. Everything is a prasad because it's taking us further in our journey.
चाहे हलवा मिले चाहे करेला मिले, हम अगर प्रसाद बुद्धि के साथ लेंगे तो दोनों ही हमें अच्छे लगेंगे और दोनों ही हम खुशी से कंज्यूम करेंगे.
And this can only happen if the mind is consistently and constantly engaged in Bhagwan Ji for us to see it from that perspective. When our mind is not engaged in God and we get so entangled with sansar, our perspective very quickly shifts to ego likes and dislikes because that's our way of being for way too long. That's what we need to unlearn.
And the most important thing that we are being told here is कि ये सब करने के लिए आपको कहीं दूर जाना नहीं है, आपको अपनी लाइफ सिचुएशन चेंज नहीं करनी है. आपको ये नहीं बोलना अगर my spouse would have been different, if my life circumstance would have been different, if I had more money, if only I had a different job, if only I had a different boss, if I had studied more, if I was born in another country, if I was born in a different caste. None of those things, right? None of those things matter. The only thing that is required is only a change of thought. And that every single one of us is capable of doing, no matter what life circumstance we find ourselves in. That is the most powerful thing that is being told in the shloka. For ultimately achieving the eternal state, which is the state of him alone, we only need to change our thoughts. Nothing else. Life circumstance बिल्कुल वही रहेगी. Actions शायद बिल्कुल वही रहेंगे, शायद actions change हो जाएंगे. We don't know, depends, right? But what will significantly alter is our thoughts, the purpose, and the surrendership. to Lord. जब हम सेवा भाव के एटीट्यूड से and the purpose is changed to making भगवान जी happy alone, ये दो चीजें जब आ जाती हैं तो उसके बाद we are on our path to achieving this eternal state, which is the same as achieving moksha, which is the same as achieving liberation, which is the same as being happy, peaceful, and content at all times.
Let's just do the last one so we close
Yeah,
this
sure.
section. Rituj, are you there? Would you like to read with us?
Yeah.
In
In conclusion,
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
in conclusion, the Lord says,
Iti te jnanamakhyatam
Iti te jnanamakyatam
guhyad guhyataram maya
bhuyat bhuyataram maya
vimrashyaitate sheshena
vimrashyai tat sheshena
yadhechasi tatha kuru.
yathechasi tatha kuru. Thus concludes the exposition of wisdom, which has been told to you by me, and which is the most profound of all profundities. Pondering over it in its entirety, now act as you choose. Realization of the ultimate truth is the supreme knowledge. This shlok contains the essence of all scriptural knowledge. To call it the most profound of all profundities does not mean that the wisdom is beyond the grasp of an ordinary mortal. For example, butter is intrinsically present in each drop of milk, but cannot be experienced without churning the milk. Similarly, knowledge contained in all the scriptures has been churned out by the Lord and made available for everyone's understanding. This easily comprehensible scriptural wisdom is backed by the assurance of the all powerful Lord. An understanding of this wisdom enables the determination of the best way for the performance of duty. This assurance does not give freedom for choosing an undesirable course of action, but allows sufficient leeway to choose a suitable discipline for attaining perfection. For example, a fond mother, out of affection for her child, prepares several delicacies and gives the child freedom to choose what the child likes best. In the same way, the Lord allows alternative disciplines to choose from so that the supreme peace may be attained easily.
So this shloka concludes the exposition of wisdom. It concludes the Gyan Shatak. This last 6 chapters is the Gyan Shatak, right? So it completes the Gyan Shatak. Now he says, I have given you the most profound knowledge that is out there. It is the profoundest knowledge you could have ever gained from anywhere is this. And I have given it to you, right? And now you ponder over it. Think about it. Manan करना जरूरी है. अब तक तो श्रवण हुआ है, right? So in every class, what do we do? Shravan, you listen.
Shravan is
Then
listen.
Manan, you have to think over it.
Reflect.
And then after reflection, you will do nidhi dhyasan. You will try and act on it, and then you will learn in that process as well, right? Nidhi dhyasan and manan will then go on again and again. And sometimes you have to go back to do shravan also again and again, right? So this is a cycle. But now he says what is very interesting is that he's not telling Arjun at no point of time throughout Gita, and we are now at the fag end of Gita. One he has not done is he has not said anything about right or wrong. He has not made a moral judgment anywhere. God is not in the business of creating moral judgments. Moral judgments is a very societal construct. Okay? He does not say कि रावण बहुत बुरा है और राम बहुत अच्छा है. उन्होंने कहीं ऐसा नहीं बोला. ओके उन्होंने कहा है दैवी क्वालिटीज ये हैं, आसुरी क्वालिटीज ये हैं. दैवी क्वालिटीज आप एक्सप्रेस करोगे तो ये बेनिफिट्स होंगे, आसुरी क्वालिटीज करोगे तो ऐसा होगा. Okay, there's a full freedom of choosing what you want to do. And he says what? Now act as you choose. And whatever you will choose, I've explained the way the world works. And I have shown you the path that will get you to happiness, the path that will lead you to your unhappiness. Now you choose your path. Right? So भगवान जी ने थ्रू आउट गीता दो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें करी हैं. फर्स्ट, टू बिफोर कार्पण्य दोष ही डिड नॉट स्पीक. भगवान ने तक नहीं एडवाइस दी, अनसॉलिसिटेड एडवाइस. भगवान जो सब कुछ जानते हैं तुम्हारा इनसाइड आउट, उन्होंने भी अनसॉलिसिटेड एडवाइस नहीं दी. ओनली व्हेन देयर वाज कंप्लीट सरेंडर and complete readiness to listen to Bhagwan ji and take his advice, only then he gave his advice. And second, even after all of that, he said, now you decide, you think over and you choose, and then you will benefit, or whatever it is, जो भी आपको आपका जो फल होगा वो आप ही एक वो उसको डील करेंगे उसके साथ. और हम उल्टा करते हैं. पहले तो अनसॉलिसिटेड एडवाइस देते हैं बाय बकेटफुल्स टू एवरीबडी अराउंड अस. सबसे पहले अपने स्पाउस को, अपने माँ बाप को, अपने बच्चों को. और सेकंड, हम किसी को चॉइस नहीं देते हैं. वी गिव नोबडी एनी फ्रीडम. सारी फ्रीडम हमारे लिए, सारे और सारे सबको कंट्रोल हमें करना है. मुझे चाहिए कि मैं अपने बच्चों की लाइफ कंट्रोल करूं, राइट? I will not let him experience his failures or let him learn from his own actions. I want to control him. I want to control his life outcomes. I want to control कौन से स्कूल में क्या जाएगा, कौन से जॉब में जाएगा. I want to control everything. I want to control my spouse. And after a point, I want to control my parents also. And I'll tell them what to do and what not to do and what is right for them, what is not right for them. Right? So Bhagwan ji, through his own actions, is teaching us what is the right thing to do, what is the model behavior. Do not give unsolicited advice. Allow people to make their own choices. Give them the freedom. And what were we supposed to do? Just like Bhagwan ji did, teach people through your own actions. Live a life. And you will only tell yourself what to do. And through your life's behavior, others may choose to model you or they may not choose to model you. Don't model your life hoping now and then trying to control others through that model. मैं रोज एक्सरसाइज के लिए जाती हूँ, अब तुम भी चलो एक्सरसाइज के लिए. उसको देखना है, वो देखेगा, मेरे से कुछ लर्न करना होगा तो करेगा, नहीं करना होगा नहीं करेगा. पर हम लोग नहीं करते ऐसा. मैं नहीं करती हूँ ऐसा, है ना? Abhinav will tell, like, he's laughing because he's reminded of 25 ways in which I give him unsolicited advice about everything in his life, right? But that's not the way to be. That causes friction between us. If we live our own lives in our own way and allow people around us to be soaked in the divinity that we send out at the right time of their lives, they will get motivated to do certain things. Bhagwan ji allowed Arjun to make his mistakes, Arjun to reach a point where he feels motivated internally to follow the path of life that Bhagwan ji wants him to follow for his happiness. But उससे पहले जितनी mistakes उसको करनी थी, over जितनी lifetimes भगवान जी ने उसे करने दी. So these are two very important things that we have to take away.
And Bhagwan ji did not choose Arjun. Bhagwan ji loves all of us as much as he loves Arjun or loves anybody else. He spoke to Arjun because Arjun surrendered and asked.
Yes.
And that's what he's waiting from us.
So we all, the day we surrender and we ask, we all become Arjun. Right? We all become that seeker. And then give the freedom and make no moral judgments on others. Bhagwan ji does not make moral judgments. जो कर रहा है वो उसको experience करेगा. ये माया है, ये लॉ है, चाहे आपको दिखे चाहे ना दिखे. So everybody let भगवान जी do his dispensation. आपको justice देने की जरूरत नहीं है इस दुनिया में, और ना आपको moral judgments पास करने. The day you are passing moral judgments on others, there is something inside of you that is getting triggered and you're creating your own prarabdha. क्योंकि आप एक्सपीरियंस कर रहे हो ना गुस्सा अपने अंदर, annoyance, jealousy, envy, कुछ तो नेगेटिव इमोशन है हमारे अंदर, वो आता है and then it takes on the garb of like, I am so cool and so good that I can pass judgment on you. Know that when we are passing judgments, it is not coming from a good space. It is not coming from a divine space. Judgment comes from an asuri place, and that asuri quality is being exhibited in us, however beautifully it may be dressed up. And so we are creating a bad outcome for us. कैसे कहाँ क्या वो Maya knows. She's doing her job. Okay? So these are two very important things for us to learn from.
All right, should we do takeaways, guys?
I can go first.
Okay, go ahead.
I feel that this chapter is always saying that we should surrender and remove ego and learn in our daily life to take all this knowledge and apply it in the best way that suits our life. So it's just something we have to keep practicing and accepting that whatever path we are going through is just our journey, and just surrender and have full faith that the outcome is for our best. That was my key takeaway.
Thank you.
My takeaway was about my prayer and how I want to change it. About praying to God that my intellect is always guided by God and my mind is always rested at God's feet. I thought that was something I want to uh, change, that the way I pray to God. And also the example of flowing with the currents of the river of life. That's something I'm taking away from in today's class, that I pray that rather than going against the current and trying to hold on to the rocks or the branches to stop myself from going against the flow of current, I have to have faith and surrender and go with the flow of life, and face the VVGP that comes my way, because these are the VVGP that I've created for myself because of my para. So that was my two takeaways.
Thanks, Ritesh.
I'll go next, please. So it's no avoidance of doing your duty. Come what may, we will have to deliver it. It will come through any which ways, and we will not be able to avoid. So we'll have to understand and why it is coming through, and then with the knowledge and with the support of God, we will have to deliver it.
Very nice.
I can go next. So the one thing we needed to do is, like, everybody is like Arjuna. We love to surrender ourselves to the Lord, and with His guidance and with the strength that He gives us, we will have to move forward with any of the actions, any day-to-day life, anything that we do. We'll have to keep Him in our minds.
I can go next. I think today's discussion was, in essence, whatever we have learned over the last so many years. It does talk about, all our VVGPs, how to kind of surrender to the VVGPs and how to do our actions based on the duties that we are supposed, like the ashram that we are in. So it was, in my opinion, it was a good kind of summarization of the entire Gita once again, where we are reminded again of our, do your duty to the best of your ability, and, accept all the VVGPs that are coming in our way by surrendering to God. So I think, yes, that would be I think it was a good takeaway again on the same principles, and a good reminder for following it to the best of our ability.
I can go next. For me, the main takeaway is that mental ease in any situation. So the VBGP, anyway, it's they are coming on our way by the God's grace. So the mental ease can happen only when we are not reacting from our ego, but to bring the divine quality, how I can respond to the person. so that my inner peace is like my the mental ease is not getting affected. So that is my main takeaway. I was just remembering the Lord Shiva is called Neelakant because that poison, what he is taken, it's not spilling outside. And also it's not going inside to touch his heart. So he is keeping it in the neck, and then the thing is like just to transform that we need Bhagwanji's grace. That is my takeaway. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
I'll go the next. Whatever situation it comes, we have to acknowledge that situation, surrender, and seeking the help with faith. And then every situation we have to go with the flow of life without any ego. Like because every situation it comes because of happiness or learning. So we have to learn out of our situation with the surrender and seeking help from the God.
Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. Oh, Bhagesh is left, sir.
Yeah. So this shloka where we read that I cannot stay out of action. I will face my VVGP and I will act out of my gunas. So my likes and dislikes will take over. In that case, the action has to happen. So it's up to me how I'm performing the action. Is it as per my duty? Am I dedicating the results of those actions to the God? And also about the energy part, that I have limited energy, and we all know that, right? I have limited energy, but he has unlimited energy. So I just have to connect to him and take energy from him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. We'll just do closing shlokas. Om Sarvesham Swastirбhavatu Sarvesham Shantirбhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Om Sarve Santu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om.